Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of GolfNewsRI the podcast. This is episode 18, and just me today, just a quick show. I just wanted to check in. I know people are watching the playoff games and whatever else you might be watching, so just wanted to check in. I'm taping this shortly after the Rhode Island four-ball came to a close. Jamie Lukowitz and Mike Capaco got the victory down at Rhode Island Country Club earlier this morning. Crazy week for that tournament. They started on Tuesday and it ended this morning. They had all kinds of weather delays on Wednesday, as you would expect, given the amounts of rain we had. So they finished it this morning. I think yesterday like a 3 hour delay. Then they suspended play later. So they got it done. And Jamie Lukowitz and Mike Capaco got the win after an incredible 9-under round, 62. Obviously, best ball between the two of them in the second round. So congrats to them. They get the victory, and the state tournament season is off and running. Hopefully, better weather in the near future. But congrats to Jamie and Mike on the victory. And you can check out the story up on GolfNewsRI.com right now if you want to see the recap and see how it all went down. So congrats to them. So just wanted to check in on that. A couple other things. High school golf coverage is winding down. There's only a couple weeks left in the season. So a really fascinating year so far. So we've been publishing the standings every week. We're through 2 weeks. Obviously, week three standings will be posted on Monday. And apparently there's some confusion about how the standings actually work for high school to make the state tournament. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League website says that it's division winners and then the next five best scores, best scoring averages. So that's what the RIL website says. So that's what we've been citing for each of the last 2 weeks. But apparently, I was told and shown an email that says that divisions actually don't matter, and it's just the straight top 10 scores, no matter, regardless of the division. So you could win your division and not get into the tournament. So that will be adjusted for the future standings. I should note that to this point, we've been just doing the 10 low scores. I just go down the list, 10 low scores. So the standings are correct. Just the text surrounding the standings and how it actually works is apparently incorrect. But it's not. But it's incorrect on the RIL site as well, which is what we sourced. So just a heads up on that. So we'll be changing the text surrounding it. But again, the standings are correct. We've just been going through the top 10 lowest scores. And then we put a couple teams that are just outside the cut. So the standings are correct. And to this point, all the divisions are accounted for. So maybe perhaps that will change. But I just want to make note of that. Apparently there's some confusion as to what is going on with the standings. But our standings, as far as themselves, are correct. So you don't have to worry about that. But just for the future reference. So that is that. A little confusing. I know a lot of coaches aren't happy about the way this is being done now, because they feel like the division should matter. I kind of agree. Winning the division should get you something, I think. But that's the way they're doing it. So that's the way it will be done, and we'll adjust the writing around our standings for the coming weeks. But again, our standings, at least for the last 2 weeks, have been correct. And you see how much they change from week 1 to week 2. The scoring averages change. Teams jump places. Teams drop out. More will happen this week, so it's pretty interesting to follow. It'll be interesting. But at the end of the year, I think I'm going to do week 1 standings compared to week, what is it, 5 or 6 standings, 6 or 7 standings, whatever the final number is, and just to see what the differences are and see how different they look. Could be kind of interesting. But you can see how much they change just from 1 week to the next. So it will be fascinating to follow as teams continue jockeying for position. We've been posting all the scores on GolfNewsRI.com, and we will continue to do that right through the high school state championship, which is May 28th and 29th over at Cranston Country Club. So that has been going well. congrats to everyone who's playing well so far, and it should be a great close to the rest of the season. So those two things out of the way. No Corn Ferry Tour action this week. Will Dixon is in action at the G Pro Tour. He's, as of right now, he's outside the cut line of the tournament. So we'll track that for the rest of the afternoon. And by the time this podcast airs, there probably will be a story up about it. So you'll be able to read and see how he does. And so that is where that's kind of on what's going on the professional ranks. Let's see if PGA Tour Canada is playing. I didn't even check. PGA Tour Americas. Nope, no PGA Tour Americas this week. No Chris Francoeur tournament this week. So there you go. That was a live check-in from the GolfNewsRI newsroom. So that's where we are with that. Of course, the biggest thing coming up in the next week is GolfNewsRI TV. And something that we're obviously very excited about. It's going to get us to the next level. And I think the TV show is going to be great. I think I'm definitely nervous about it. Not because I don't think it's going to go well, but just, it's different. It's a different thing. It's a new venture. TV is obviously a lot different than just doing a podcast. So I'm definitely nervous about it, but it's really exciting stuff. So that the GolfNewsRI TV, the first show will be May 19th. And then there'll be a show every weekend after that. So super excited. We're super excited for the first show to air. We have a great guest lined up. I'll be on the road show on the 14th, next Tuesday, to promote GolfNewsRI TV and to talk about our brand and everything. So really excited for that appearance. I was with Bobby Leopold a couple of weeks ago when he was on the road show. So super excited for GolfNewsRI TV. That starts next week. It's going to be great. We're going to have great content. Of course, like anything, you have to build it, right? We have to start, just like we did with the website. We have to build this up from kind of the ground, so to speak. Obviously, the folks at WPRI are helping us out, the media group there, and Joe Lembo and our photographer, Jesse. So it's not all on me, but I'm going to be part of it, obviously. So we obviously have to build this up. So I encourage everyone to stick with us. The first show or two might not be perfect, or it might not have everything that you want, but the idea is to get this started. And then once we get comfortable and kind of get into a feel as far as, okay, we know what we're doing, we know we can do this, whatever it may be, then we can start adding things and building more things into the show and getting more advanced. So stick with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. The first show is going to be great. The second show is going to be great as well. I think all the shows are going to be great, but at least those two shows we have scheduled out a little bit with guests, so I can tell you that they're going to be great. So stick with us. We're really excited for it. There'll also be a merch drop on Monday for GolfNewsRI TV week, so we'll promote that as well. So you can get your GolfNewsRI TV merch if you want, as opposed to your regular GolfNewsRI merch. So we'll have some of that coming as well. So GolfNewsRI TV next week should be fun. I'll be on the road show on Tuesday. And then I'm going straight from the road show to Kirkbride because there's a U.S. Open qualifier there on Tuesday. And I've been saying this, and if you've never been, if you want to come watch golf and want to watch golf that really means something, and people trying to live out their dream, come watch a U.S. Open qualifier or any qualifier. Watch a Monday qualifier for a tournament or anything. Guys are playing for their lives. One mistake could change could end it. One great shot could make it. So it's really interesting. It's really a fascinating day. So looking forward to that. Obviously, the morning is kind of slow ish, and I only say that because by the time the afternoon hits, there's a cut line out. You have an idea of what people are doing. You can follow people as far as what they need to do coming in. And then it kind of gets interesting because you can really watch and really know what's going on. So that's why the afternoon gets more interesting. Usually there's always a playoff for something, whether it's a playoff for a spot or a playoff for an alternate spot. So those are fascinating to watch, especially if it's like a big playoff. There hasn't been There's been playoffs the last 2 years, but it hasn't been anything crazy. I don't think. I'm trying to remember. I think last year was a 3-for-2 playoff for the alternate spot. There's no playoff for the regular. There was no playoff for the to advance. And the year before that, I think there was a playoff for the final spot, but it wasn't like anything crazy. It wasn't like a 7-for-2 playoff or something crazy. So hopefully maybe we'll get something like that. I don't want to say hopefully, because I wouldn't envy anybody in that position having to play in that playoff. But maybe we'll get something crazy like that. So should be exciting. That's all day Tuesday at Kirkbride. Come and watch. They have the USJ flags and the USJ tee boxes or tee markers rather. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool to be there. So looking forward to being there shortly after the road show. Golf News will have full coverage of that day, of course, plus everything else going on Tuesday as well. So that is what's coming up. Of course, then the week after that is the Senior Open qualifier at Franklin, and we'll have coverage of that as well. So things are rolling. The season's starting. Hopefully, the weather's getting nicer. I know the yesterday was miserable, but hopefully the weather's going to be nicer and more consistent, and so things are coming fast. And so that's some good stuff. So that's what we have going on. Again, GolfNewsRI TV next week, U.S. Open qualifier at Kirkbride next week, a local qualifier, then they go to the regional. But still, it's still exciting. So feel free to come down, say hi, watch some golf. Again, once it gets into the afternoon, it really, not that you can't come watch in the morning. It's fun in the morning too. But once it gets in the afternoon, then it really gets interesting with the cut line and different things. So there's that. So I'm sure there'll be a bunch of local people playing. We'll publish the local tee times we'll publish the tee times for the locals, so people know when to go, when to follow. You don't have to scroll through the whole thing of tee times. Obviously, there'll probably be a slew of locals, a ton of locals playing. So it'll probably end up being a tedious task, but whatever. We'll do it anyway. So that's what we have coming up. This weekend we just we'll have high school golf coverage, of course. The scores are probably already up from Thursday, and then as far as tournaments and PGA Tour stuff and should be a pretty quiet weekend. I mean, the PGA Tour is playing, but no Corn Ferry Tour. G Pro Tour will be over by tomorrow, so could be a quiet-ish weekend. I'm sure there'll be some local club tournaments we'll have, so that's good as well. So yeah, so that's what we have. Thanks to everybody for the continued support and following along on this journey. It's been a pretty fun ride, and we're looking forward to the next chapter, the TV chapter, and hopefully we can continue to take our content and bring it to the TV side. So it's going to be fun. Give us some time to build it up and get a little more advanced and get more comfortable, and it will definitely be worth your watch on the weekends when it airs. So whether you watch it live or you DVR it or you watch it on YouTube, so it'll be definitely great. So thanks again to everybody. Again, quick show. I know playoff games are on. So thanks to everybody. We'll see you throughout the weekend on GolfNewsRI.com, and we'll talk to you next week. Oh, the other thing I wanted to add, the point of doing this, as far as the podcast goes, because obviously TV is going to take up a ton of time, but as far as the podcast goes, I want to try to keep it. I enjoy doing them mostly because I can get somebody and hang it, and if I want to have a half an hour or an hour conversation with somebody, I can do that. Obviously on a podcast, TV obviously cannot do that. It's very timely, and it's you have to be in and out. So I'm going to try to keep doing the podcast. I can't promise there's going to be one every single week, but we're going to try to keep it going and see what we can do. Maybe we'll add some different elements in as well. Yeah, so that's the goal. Again, I can't promise there's going to be a podcast every single week just because of if things get busy, but I want to try to keep them pretty consistent, try to have guests on consistently. We definitely want to get Mike Hamilton and Tom McCormick on over the next week or so before they go to the US Four Ball, and so we'll try to do that. So, but anyway, I wanted to, I did I started recording the podcast today with the intention of talking about that because I know people were wondering what I was going to do. But yeah, the idea is to try to keep the podcast going again. I can't promise it's going to be every week, but we'll try to keep it relatively consistently and bring you good interviews and good conversations with people that are much longer than 10 minutes, like they are going to be on TV. So that's the idea. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, with that said, thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. We'll talk to you all weekend long on GolfNewsRI.com, and then we'll talk to you next week on GolfNewsRI TV. Exciting stuff. Thank you to everybody for making this possible, all the sponsors, followers, and everything else. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So we'll talk to you next time. I'm Joe Calabro. Have a great weekend, everybody. Play some golf, hit them straight, and we'll talk to you next week.